What's up, guys? Got a good one for you today. We're going to be talking about, do you have to use a budget in order to be a good steward? Or, in order to be a good steward, do I have to live this super budgeted life? What if I don't like budgets? What if budgets don't work for me? What if I've tried budgets for years, never stuck to them, never really worked out? Does that make me a bad steward? Oh man, this is going to be a life-changing episode. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, to the podcast, wherever you're listening to this to, because I got tons of great training and content coming out just like this. It's going to help you live a life of increase. And if you haven't already, head over to Financial Increase 101. I put together a free guide that's going to show you how to start activating these principles of increase in your everyday life so that you don't have to live a small, downsized, budgeted life, and you can go on and do the big things that God has called you to do. It's a great little program. Go download it, absolutely free. It'll change your life. FinancialIncrease101.com. Now, back to today's topic. This topic of stewardship is interesting because, well, to be honest, if you go look it up, you can go do a search yourself. The Bible doesn't use, it uses the word steward in some translations, and it uses the word stewardship in some translations, but it's not how we use it in everyday language. We have an internal definition that we think being a good steward means spending as little money as possible. But that's not in the Bible. That definition, there's not even like a story where you can kind of put that definition together based off what you read. There's not even anything like that. The closest thing that people reference when it comes to stewardship is the parable of the talents. And I just did another video on that in this stewardship series. And we realized that those stewards, in the Bible it actually calls them servants. It doesn't actually call them stewards. It calls them servants. But we learned that the good stewards were the ones who took the master's money and increased it. There was one person who said out of fear went and hid his master's money, went and saved it, went and buried it in the ground, so that when he came back, he was, in the Amplified it says he was afraid to lose his master's money. So he hid it. Well, when the master came back, he called him, "You are wicked and you are lazy." And then later it says, throw him out in the darkness. He says, throw that useless and worthless servant out into the darkness. Very harsh terms when it comes to handling his master's money. And that's what we talk about here in the Increase Life podcast and YouTube channel, is we talk about how to handle God's money. And why I love talking about this topic because we have such a distorted view on what it means to be a good steward. Now, the definition of a steward is a manager, and sometimes the definitions will go deeper and it'll say something to the effect of a manager of somebody's household or a manager of somebody's household affairs. That's what a steward is. Now, there are some scriptures here. Here's one in 1 Corinthians 9:17. Paul's talking, and it says this: "For I do this work of my own free will. If I do this work of my own free will, then I have a reward. But if it is not of my will, but it's God's choosing, I have been entrusted then with a sacred stewardship." And right before that, he's talking about preaching the gospel. And after that, he's talking about preaching the gospel. So what he's saying is, I have a stewardship. I have to manage God's affairs down here. The other references that I think about when it comes to stewardship and managing our master's household affairs is just managing the kingdom. I've been entrusted with God's kingdom. The kingdom is in me, it's in you, it's in us. And we know in Matthew 6:33 and a couple other, if you watch any of my videos, please go binge watch them and you'll get all this. I dive deeper in some of those. But his kingdom is his way of doing things. It's his government. It's his mode of operation, right? We talk about the kingdom's ways are different than man's ways. Man's ways say you get ahead financially by saving all your money, hoarding all your money, have a tight grip on your money. Don't let that money go. You got to hold on to this. You got to be stingy. You got to not spend, that sort of deal. But then the kingdom says, hey, the generous person is the one who's made wealthy. The stingy, this is Proverbs 11:24-25. The stingy end up losing everything. Exact opposite in the kingdom on how to get ahead. The world will tell you, that if it is to be, it's up to me. Well, Matthew 6:33, Jesus is telling us, hey, go seek the kingdom of God first. His way of doing things. God will add all that stuff to you, all your needs and necessities. He says the unbelievers strive and worry about the necessities of life. God knows you need them. Just go seek him first, and he'll add the stuff to you. He'll give you what you want. He'll give you what you need. He'll increase you. He'll apply those things to your life. He'll add those things to your life. I mean, it's just such a different way of living. So when we talk about stewardship, again, I covered this in the last video, but we have to know our master in order to handle his affairs like he would. Because, see, that's the key to being a good steward, is we have to handle his stuff the way he handles his stuff, according to his nature. So if I hire somebody to be my financial steward, they have to know how to operate like I want my money to be operated. Like they have to be a little version of me so that they can go and do stuff while I'm away doing other things that God's called me to do. I'm on assignment, and my mini-me, my steward, is taking care of my stuff for me. Well, he has to know how I like my stuff to be taken care of. Otherwise, he's going to do it incorrectly, and I'm going to be upset. I've told the story before, but I worked for a man who, he was very frugal, very cheap, and he would send me out to go buy things for the office and different stuff. But my assignment, my stewardship mission, if you will, was spend as little money as possible. And he was a millionaire. He had money, but to him, that's how you do stuff. Later on, I worked for a guy who was the exact opposite. He was a Christian. He was wealthy, but the exact opposite part is he believed because we are Christians, we need to operate and honor God in all that we do. So we buy the best. And I used to, for this particular boss, I sold new construction homes. So when he'd be like, hey, I need to get these things for the office. I need you to go get the stuff to decorate this new model home. It was always by the highest quality and by the best thing. It didn't have to be the most expensive, but it needed to be the best quality. It needed to be pretty things. It needed to be nice things. He's like, everything we do honors God and represents him. And our God, I know my God's nature, and my God is a God of the best. Isaiah 1:19 says, if you're willing and obedient, you'll eat the best of the land. If you go and look at how God commanded King David and Solomon to build his temple back in the Old Testament, it talks about, he basically laid out the plans for him. You're going to use these materials, you're going to use this stuff, and it was the finest cedar wood. It was ruby, onyx, jasper, gold, silver, bronze. It was all the most expensive things. I did some research on it. They estimated that God's temple was worth about $194 billion with a B because of all the extravagant, lavish, luxury, wealthy things that God himself said, put in my temple. God said, honor me with the best. I want you to have the best in here. I'm a God of the best. I'm not a God of just surviving, just getting by, just oh God, just bless me and my four and no more. God, if I could just pay my bills this month, I'd be happy. Like, stop. No. None of that makes you a good steward. None of that. Being a good steward doesn't mean spend as little money as possible. Guess what? God's not hurting for money. He's not short on money. He doesn't need you to spend as little as possible. He just needs you to be obedient. A good steward is just someone who handles the kingdom, handles God's affairs, and handles them in God's ways. So when it comes to budgeting and living the budgeted life, here's a couple misconceptions. Is a lot of Christians think that, and I get this if you guys are in Increase University or you've been through my Increase Challenge or in the Facebook groups with us, which if you're not, come join us. This Increase movement is going hard and it is changing Christians' lives all across the planet. People are experiencing increase, financial increase, prosperity, abundance. God's doing some cool stuff, but we're breaking limiting beliefs and old money mindsets that we grew up with, these limiting beliefs, like the ones I'm talking about here, that have hindered you from having the financial success you deserve. So, man, please check those out. Like I said, financialincrease101.com is free. It'll get you in the Increase Challenge too. So, some of the misconceptions, and I hear this in the groups and get emails on this. I'll have some people who are like, man, my bank account went negative. I'm not good at handling God's money. Therefore, he's punishing me by not giving me more. He can't trust me. This is deep. I want you to check yourself on this. Do you have this on a subconscious level somewhere? God can't trust me, so he's not giving me more money. Obviously, he can't trust me. Look, my bank account went negative, and it's because I went to Target, and then later I went to Starbucks, and then I bought a pair of shoes on Amazon. And I door dashed one too many nights, and now my bank account went negative. I don't get paid for another 4 days. Obviously, God can't trust me. I can't figure this thing out. I can't get it right. God's not giving me more. I mean, it's obviously my bank account went negative because God can't trust me, and so he didn't bless me. He's withholding blessing from me so until he can trust me. And that thought process seems right. It seems like there's something to that, but that's not actually God's nature. He doesn't punish you. In fact, there's a scripture that says he withholds no good thing from those who walk uprightly. And here's something else I want you to consider. There's a lot of wealthy people who are, according to that definition of stewardship, horrible stewards. They spend money like crazy. They've got 14 cars and 6 houses across the country, all mansions, yet, and they spend money on drugs, and they do horrible things, or some do good things, but according to that definition of stewardship, like I have to spend as little as money as possible, then God will trust me and give me more. Yet, we see countless people make millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and yet blow it like crazy and spend as much money as possible. There's millionaires who live in an essence paycheck to paycheck because they spend all the money they get. Yet the money keeps coming. So that definition can't be true. That principle can't be true, that God only blesses financially the ones who spend as little money as possible. Because spending as little money as possible, God looks at that and says, oh, now I can trust you with more. Well, one, again, that particular principle I just outlined is not in the Bible. It's something we made up as man. And like I said, I'm having a hard time even finding something that can kind of, you can catch the context of it and it states that. I can't really find that either. I mean, maybe y'all can comment below if you find a scripture that says if you spend as little as money as possible, God thinks that's a good steward, and he'll bless you with more because you spent as little money as possible. Maybe y'all can help me with that. It's not in there. So the shift I want you to make here, when it comes to spending money and budgeting and handling God's money as he would, the first thing we're going to do is tithe. When income comes into your life, I'm going to write 10%, take that first 10% immediately, not after I pay my bills and hope there's 10% left, because that doesn't really happen. So the first thing I'm going to do is give that 10% back to God. Malachi 3:10 and 11 talks about that and all the cool benefits that come with tithing. I've got a tithing series you can find on my YouTube channel if you need some more help with that. Then think about Proverbs 3:9 and 10. Honor the Lord with your wealth and the first part of your income. Then he will fill your barns and storage places with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. Right? This is how we operate. This is God's way of doing things. This is how we be a good steward. I'm going to handle his money as he would. All right? He gave me instructions on the Bible on how to do that. I just explained it to you. And then from there are scriptures about investing. There are scriptures about storing up money for a later use. Yeah, we do that. So I teach inside of my programs Kingdom Money Mastery. I got a program on literally biblical finance and how to master your money God's way, but with an increased mindset, never a decreased mindset. So, we talk about tithing your first 10%, putting your next 10% into a storage account. We teach about calling it a storage account instead of a savings account, just for some mental reasons, right? Whenever you dip into savings, it kind of hurts. But when you dip into your storage account, it's cool because you're storing it up for a later use, right? So there's some cool tactics like that inside of Kingdom Money Mastery. And then that third 10%, we're going to invest it. We're going to use those investments. And in Kingdom Money Mastery, I show you what kind of investments to set up, baseline investments, easy ones you can kind of set and forget that anybody can afford to do. So we help you dial all that stuff in. So I do believe that we do need to have some kind of money structure. All right, we're going to tithe 10%, we're going to store 10%, and we're going to invest 10%. And then we live and give off the other 70. Okay? Now, as far as living that budgeted lifestyle, me and my wife take more of a spirit-led approach. Just the other day, and we've got money in the bank. Like, it's not like money was tight, but just the other day, it was like, hey, babe, we've been spending a lot of money lately. Let's pull back a little bit. And she's like, yeah, I've been feeling that same way too. Cool. So we did. It's not because we had to and are desperate and don't have money. If you're in that spot, that's okay. God will get you out of that quick, and we can help you inside of our programs. But my point is, we're in tune with the Holy Spirit when it comes to our money and everything we do. We're in tune with the kingdom. We start our day off in the Word and praying in the Spirit and hanging out with God every single morning. We're in tune with what's going on. So every now and then we'll get these little checks and just be like, hey, slow down for a minute. Let's not spend as much this week. We spent a lot last week. Let's hang out for a second. Let's stack back up. Let's get ahead a little bit. Okay, perfect. No biggie. We're not like, oh, I have to go buy these shoes. I have to eat out. No. Ain't no thing. Just chill for a minute. Okay. Cool. And we've lived that way. We've been married for 11 years. And I was living like that before that. She was living like that before that. But at least 11 years together, we've been operating that way. Not from a strict budget and, I can only spend $200 a month on groceries, $50 on gas, and blah, 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 blah. Right? If you're going to focus on decreasing and putting lids and limits on yourself, you're going to live that way. So inside of my group, oh my goodness, guys, I get it daily. People are like, man, I followed this certain financial guru guy, and man, he tells me to, cut all my expenses and basically live like a pauper. And I get this I'm telling you, it's almost every day. Somebody messages in there and says, I've lived his way. I've lived that way for years, and I'm still not ahead. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. One person the other day said, I've literally cut everything I can think to cut, and it's still not working. Well, the reason it's not working is because you're all focused on decrease. It's a law of expectation. I'm focused on cutting and decrease and cutting and decrease. She said, like, I've trimmed all the fat. I literally have no luxuries, no extravagance, like not eating out ever, no cable, no Netflix, no gym membership, like cut everything. And it's been years I've been living this way, and I'm still not ahead, and I'm sick and tired of it. This doesn't feel like God's way. This doesn't feel like kingdom. This doesn't feel like an abundant life that Jesus came to give me in John 10:10. This doesn't feel like God. I get something like that almost every single day, and I love them because I can help you. That's the message God put in me, is to teach and equip you guys to live a life of increase, not decrease. This is how to actually walk out a life of abundance and prosperity. And just so you guys know, prosperity, it just means you're in control. It means you're in control of your time. You're in control of your money. You're in control. You don't have to make decisions based off, what your boss says, debt payments, being slave to the lender. Like, you're in control. You have prosperity. You're in control. I hope this one helped you. You don't have to live a budgeted life to be a good steward. And God isn't punishing you if your bank account is low and saying, I can't trust you. That's not how it works. There isn't, like, that's not his nature. That's like saying, that's like you go ride your bike and you crash and you skin your knee and your knee's bleeding everywhere. And God's like, you weren't a good steward of your body. I can't heal you. I'm not going to heal. I'm going to punish you and teach you a lesson. I can't trust you with your body. So I'm not going to heal you. I'm going to withhold healing. That's a ridiculous statement because we know that's not God's nature and that's silly and that's pretty stupid. Yet we have that same thought pattern when it comes to money. Oh man, something happened. I messed up. I made a mistake. Now my bank account went negative. Obviously God can't trust me. So he's not going to bless. He's going to withhold it. Look at that. You door dashed too many times this month. You hit Grubhub too many times. I can't trust you anymore, Travis. I'm going to withhold my blessing from you. No, it doesn't say that anywhere. That's not how it works. Oh man, let's be set free from this. If you're in a financial spot, you go to God, you Matthew 6:33 it, and you say, God, I'm coming to you. I'm seeking you first. I'm seeking your way of doing things. What do I do next? Give me some instruction. James 1:5 says, if you need wisdom, ask him and he'll gladly give it to you. Just expect him to answer. That's all I got to do. All right, God, what do I do next? How do you see my financial spot? What do I do? And he'll say, go call this person. He'll say, go mow this guy's lawn. He'll say, bless this person with $100. He'll give you some instruction, but you got to go do the instruction. When you do the instruction, when you obey that thing, that's when everything's going to unlock and open for you. I hope this helped you. I love you. If you guys need help on any of this financial stuff, again, head over to financialincrease101.com. It's going to put you, I got a free guide. It's going to show you how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. It's going to show you how to get ahead financially using God's principles. It's going to show you how to increase your way out of debt, not decrease your way out of debt. And we can live a rich, abundant life that honors God. I'm going to show you how to be radically generous and do and execute and live out the call of God that's on your life. Make sure you like and subscribe. Please, it pushes this out so more Christians can see it. It helps the algorithm show this to more people. And just go ahead and share this. If there's somebody you know who's been struggling with this, they keep thinking, I'm not a good steward. That's why God's not blessing me. Share this with them. Let's blow their minds a little bit. Let's open their eyes to what the word actually says so that they can be set free. All right. Love you guys. See you in the next one.